What it do, Love Bucket? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I go by the name of Monty J. You can find me on all social media, Facebook, IG, all that good stuff. And I'll have that linked in the description box below. So today I'm going to give you guys like my why did I change my lifestyle video. What was the breaking point that made me go, okay, I can't do this anymore. I gotta change the way I eat. I gotta change the way I live. I'm going plant-based. I get that question a lot. So it's like my introductory story on top of my fibroid story, if you will. So before we get started, if I'm looking in different directions, I'm just trying to adjust to the camera being in my face. That's for one. And if you're like, she looks familiar, that black top look familiar, and I'm glad. I'm double recording videos today just to kind of catch up with videos that should have been uploaded already. I'm a procrastinator. Sorry. Anyway, let's get straight into this video because I already feel like it's gonna be quite a video. It's probably gonna be about 15-20 minutes long. So if you want to grab a snack, grab a snack. So let's start. Let's get into this story. For one, I'm gonna take you guys back to 2017. This had to be probably January or February of 2017. This was before I met who I started dealing with. Was it 2017 or 2018? No. I'm sorry. It was 2017. 2017, it had to be before my 21st birthday. Yeah, sometime before my 21st birthday or like just after. I remember I had woken up because I had to go to work that day to work a double or a triple, I don't remember. A double or triple for me at that time would have been like anywhere from 24 to 36 hours. Our shifts were in 12-hour increments, and my crazy self would work 2 to 3 shifts in a row. I know, don't judge me. But anyway, I remember I woke up that morning feeling kind of nauseous and sick. I didn't feel right. Something felt off, like really off about, my stomach. I didn't feel right. So I, just slid my legs out of bed and I went to go stand up. And as I stood up, 2 blood clots, I'm sorry to be so descriptive, 2 blood clots just went boop, boop on the floor. And they weren't like small little things. They were probably about, BS y'all not, probably about, I hope y'all can see this, about this size of a blood clot. And 2 came out at the same time. And I'm freaking out like, what is going on? This ain't normal. This is not normal. So, I'm panicking a little bit, but nonetheless, I clean myself up. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what is going on in life? I tried to just, let the thought go out of my head. I was in a Facebook group at the time. So I had posted, what happened with me. And I had one person comment like, oh, you might have just had a miscarriage. And I'm like, miscarriage? I'm not pregnant. Like, I haven't been dealing with anyone to have a miscarriage or to have a pregnancy scare. So I know for sure this is not me having a miscarriage. It was definitely 2017 because I remember who I texted at the time, and he was a 2017 issue that I got rid of. But nonetheless, so I clean it up, I ignore it, going about my day, and I go to the bathroom to start getting ready, and boop, here come another blood clot, just out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is going on with me? Nonetheless, I ignore it. I, grab me a towel, washcloth, get in the shower, clean myself up. And as I'm in the shower, I'm still passing clots. And I'm just like, oh my damn, I don't know what's wrong with me. So nonetheless, I went to work. I just wore extra leggings underneath my work pants. And I took a whole 30, it was probably, what did it come in, 36 packs? Whatever 30 pack always comes in, I grabbed a fresh 30 pack of pads and took them with me. And I didn't get the light ones. I got at least 4 or 5s. And I wore them to go to work. And before I left out the front door, another clot had passed. So at this time, it was probably a good at least 5 clots that passed out of me before I walked out the front door. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. I'm supposed to be working, you know, all day today. So I go to work, I'm doing my shift, I'm going through, you know, the regular ins and outs of working. And at one point my partner was like, yo, do you need to go home? Because my work was actually like on the road. Like I was a EMT for a private company. I'm not gonna say who, but I was an EMT for a private company. And my partner just looked at me and he was like, yo, you don't look right. Like something is off about you. You look flushed, you look terrible. You look like you're ready to pass out. You good? And I'm like, yeah, yo, I'm good. And the whole day that we was working, you know, he would ask me, are you hungry? You wanna go grab something to eat? And I would continuously tell yo, like, no, I'm not hungry, because I wasn't. My appetite was gone. I was nauseous more than anything else. So, you know, I'm trying to ignore it. Excuse me. I'm trying to ignore the symptoms, but no. So towards the end of my shift with my partner, we ran across a nurse. And she was just riding the elevator with us. And she looked at me and she was like, are you okay? And I didn't know she was talking to me at first because I was so dazed out from feeling terrible. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, why? She was like, I know your complexion's a little lighter. My face wasn't always this dark. She was like, I know your complexion's a little lighter, but you look flushed. You look sunken in. You look like you're ready to pass out somewhere. And you know, finally I ran to the bathroom, and I did. I was the lightest I've ever been. My face was completely flushed. My eyes looked like they were sunken in. Like, I looked horrible. And at the end of our shift, now mind you, throughout the whole shift, I'm still passing clots, hella clots. At the end of our shift, I just called my job, like, look, I can't do the next shift. It's not gonna work. I feel bad, I feel terrible. I feel sick, I'm bleeding like crazy. I feel like I'm about to pass out, I need to go home. So they sent me home. I go home and I'm like, I can't wait to take a shower. I feel disgusting. So, you know, I got my stuff to get in the shower. I turned the shower on or whatever to what I like now. I like a pretty hot shower, but I just needed something that was like lukewarm, something that felt good against my skin, whatever. So I gets in the shower. And as I'm in the shower, I just remember I started to see black dots just pop up everywhere. Black dots everywhere. And I'm like, what the freak? What is going on today? Like, where are these black dots coming from? And then after the black dots started, they were constantly just popping up. After the black dots started, I noticed that I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like, I was in the shower just... I felt like I legit could not breathe. The room was spinning. I felt dizzy. So I felt myself literally about to black out. So I steps out the shower. I grabs a towel and I wrap myself. And I'm trying to call my grandmother because I'm like, yo, I'm about to pass out. And as I'm trying to talk, nothing is barely coming out. Like, I'm trying to talk. And it's like, help me. I need help. I need you to call the cops. I need you to... Mind you, she's upstairs. I'm on the second floor. She's on her third floor room or whatever. So of course she can't hear me. So eventually I get out enough air to scream, I need help. And as she's coming down the steps, I'm actually falling. Like, I didn't even have control. I just felt myself go this way. Now the direction that I was falling in, she has like a railing right here. It's like a thick, square looking railing right there. And sure enough, I would have hit my head if she didn't take her hand and kind of just block my head from hitting the railing. But right underneath me was like a plastic tote. And when I fell on the tote, I cracked it, and part of the crack scratched me on my butt. So embarrassing to talk about, but it did. It scratched me on my butt, and sure enough, I started bleeding. And to this day, I still have that scar. So she took me to the hospital that wasn't too far from her house. It was probably like 10 minutes. So I go into the ED, I tell them my symptoms. One of the nurses does a vaginal exam, and I speak to the doctor. You know, I go through some testing, blah blah blah. They confirmed I wasn't pregnant, which I knew already, but thanks. Nonetheless, you know, when everyone comes in the room, they're like, okay, you have what's called uterine fibroids. And I'm like, what the heck are uterine fibroids? So to explain to y'all what uterine fibroids are, they're basically benign or non-cancerous tumors that grow on the uterus. They can be in different places of the uterus, and it can cause infertility, heavy bleeding, clots. Some women lose blood to the point where they need a blood transfusion, prolonged periods and things like that. Like at one point, while I was with my last boyfriend, I had to be bleeding from BS y'all not, from November all the way to February. Now every day wasn't necessarily a heavy flow, but every day I was bleeding somehow, some way. And it's just to the point where it was like, yo, this is crazy. So fast forward to like a month later, me and the ex, no. Yeah, like a month later. No, I'm sorry, not even a month later, a couple months later, in May. So in May, I had started a new job. Started working at a hospital, and I had to work a Saturday, Sunday shift. So at this point, me and the ex had broken up. We broke up in January. I stopped bleeding I stopped bleeding as bad in February. And then May rolls around, and I'm having that nauseous feeling again. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. But because by the end of February, my bleeding was a little more controlled. Stress is a big reason why I was bleeding so badly, and that mofo stressed me out. But nonetheless, I'm at work. I'm at my desk, and I'm having these real bad cramps. I'm talking to the point where if I lay back, it hurt. If I lay forward, it hurt. If I crouch over, it hurt. So it's like, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm running back and forth to the bathroom, passing clocks every time I run to the bathroom. I ran to the bathroom probably 5 times in the last 10 minutes. And I'm bleeding bad. So nonetheless, finally there comes a time when I run to the bathroom and I end up on the floor. And I'm crumbled over. And luckily where I ended up on the floor, you know that little string that's there to call a nurse or a tech to come help you in the bathroom? I luckily landed, like, I'm here. The string is probably like right here. So luckily I'm at a place where I can pull the string, and you know, one of the techs knocks on the door. She's like, you know, you pulled the string. They want to make sure that you're good. And I'm like, yeah, I know I pulled the string. I pulled it on purpose. I'm in here ready to end it all. So finally, nurse comes in, and so did a pediatrician, because I work in a PTI. She comes, they both come in, and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. Excuse me, I'm on the floor crying my eyes out, in the worst pain that I've ever been in life. And I'm like, please get me some help. Like, I'm in the worst pain of my life. I'm in real tears, crying in tears. So they go grab a wheelchair. They help me get up off the floor, and they put me in the wheelchair. They take me to the front of the ER to get checked in. And as I'm waiting to get checked in, I feel like my stomach is turning. And I'm like, I need a bucket. I need a bucket right now. So sure enough, they give me a bucket. I'm just throwing up everywhere, like everywhere. Anything that I had for breakfast that day came out. Any medications I took that day came straight out. Because I did take like, what did they give me? Tylenol, Motrin, something like that. I threw it all up. There was nothing in my stomach past that point. So they pushed me inside the, you know, the sliding door to get my vitals done. I'm in the wheelchair. My back is like this, and I'm because even though, you know, when they put the post ox on me, it says that I'm getting the right amount of oxygen in my body, I feel like I can't breathe. And when you lose as much blood as I did, that's pretty normal. So you know, I'm thinking they probably looking at me like I'm faking this right now. Like I just don't want to be at work. But no, I'm chilling in the chair, trying to control my breathing, and one of my coworkers looked me in my face and said, yo, she's flushed and she is drowning in her sweat. I had so much sweat coming down my face. If you looked at, like, I think I had an Under Armour shirt on that day. I touched it right here and I could feel that it was sweat from here to here. And I was like, oh, damn, I'm really sweating in bed. So nonetheless, I had to give a urine sample, of course. I'm trying to get out the wheelchair to give a urine sample. And I stop at this desk that's in between where I started and where the bathroom is. And I'm leaning over the side of the desk, like, because I can't breathe. I feel like I'm about to pass out. The black dots are coming back again. And finally, you know, they were like, are you okay? I'm like, no. They're like, you need to sit down. I'm like, no. Sitting down, standing up, anything hurt like hell. So I just wanted to be left alone. So eventually I make it to the bathroom, which was only like 5 feet away from where I stopped. And I get the urine sample. After I got the urine sample together, I just laid out on the floor for a couple minutes. I was in so much pain. I just laid out on the floor, and that floor is disgusting. But I needed to, you know, get myself together. So I lays out on the floor, gets myself a little together, and then I finally go to the front where they're supposed to see me. So I'm up front. I get into a room, and they do a vaginal exam, and the PA, physician's assistant, that does my vaginal exam is like, well, at this moment, I don't see any, fibroids. You may have a history, but at this moment, I can't feel any, but we're gonna get a ultrasound done just to double check and make sure that I'm not missing something just from my, just from a regular finger exam. So I go get that done. I got an ultrasound done, but I got a CAT scan done. I'm sorry. I got a CAT scan done and an ultrasound done. And the ultrasound tech is just like, she does one on the outside and then she does one on the inside. She takes her probe and looks at my uterus from the outside, and then she takes it and looks at me from the inside. It's so violating, but it's what you gotta do. So anyway, she's like, yeah, I'm not seeing any more fibroids. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, at this moment you don't have any. She was like, now what could have happened is one or two that you had in you could have just disintegrated and you could have just bled out that fibroid or whatever. But at this moment, you're clear of all fibroids. And I said, oh, snippet-dee-dat. Now, at the time that I was going through that, November to February, which was December, January, like 3 months of bleeding, 3-4 months of bleeding, I was looking up ways to control the bleeding. And I found things like do the Mediterranean diet, be a pescatarian, be a vegan, be a vegetarian, whatever. And I knew at that moment, being a vegan was not finna happen. So, I was like, let me try this Mediterranean diet, and obviously it didn't work, because obviously I still was bleeding like crazy and about to freaking die. But anyway, that day I got discharged from the hospital and they sent me home from work, of course. So as I'm at home, I'm just thinking, like, is the way that I'm eating or the way that I'm living right now worth the pain that I go through, the stress that I go through, or any of this? Like, when they did my labs, my blood loss was so heavy and bad. I know it's weird, I gotta scratch myself like this. My blood loss was so bad to the point where she almost had to give me a blood transfusion. Like, if I had lost just a touch more blood, I would have had to have a blood transfusion. So it was really that heavy of bleeding. And I just kept thinking in my mind, like, is it worth it to eat the things that I like, to have to live like this every day? To question if I'm ever gonna be able to have children, if I'm gonna be able to, have only a week worth of bleeding. Is it worth it? And finally, in my head, I was just like, it's not. It's not. I need to get it together. I need to fix my diet. I need to be more active. So first I started with being a pescatarian. I gave up all red meats of any kind. So I mainly at that point only really ate bacon, like a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. I would eat that every now and again, but I didn't really eat red meats like that already. But I gave up all red meats of any type, and then finally I went down to chicken and fish, and then I made myself cut out chicken completely. So this is all in May, excuse me. I cut out chicken completely, and then I went to pescatarian. So some of the meals that I was eating at every stage, I'll throw them in here somewhere. But anyway, so then I was things of the sea, things like that. And then finally I was just like, next time I go to the market, how about I just don't get any meat at all? How about I substitute my dairy items with non-dairy items? How about instead of eating fish, I just don't eat any meat. I just eat what I primarily would eat with them, and find a primary source instead to eat with it. So it'd be stuff like beans and stuff like that. But tofu, you get what I'm saying? I definitely made a lot of changes that day. And the first week of me being a vegan, I enjoyed my foods. I didn't really miss anything. Everything tastes great. And I noticed like I was losing some of my bloating. Like my stomach was starting to go down a little bit. And I think at the end of the first week, I probably lost about 5 to 8 pounds. And I just kept going and going and going and going. And then by the end of a month's time, I had lost, so from June to July, I lost about 25 pounds. And then from that point, I just kept going because it was like I found the solution to my issue. A lot of doctors would try to tell me, there's a chance that you won't be able to have kids, and there's a chance that you're just gonna have to have everything as far as your reproductive system taken out. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, have them just take my uterus out. I ain't gonna lie, when I was in that hospital bed, I was like, please just take it out. If y'all can do same day surgery today and get this mofo out of me, take it out. I don't want it that bad. But no. I just changed the way I eat. Got my life together. Started going to the gym in July, I want to say. Yeah, it was July, like mid-July, that I started going back to the gym. But the first 20-25 pounds I lost had nothing to do with the gym. It had everything to do with just the way that I eat. And the reason that I'm so into fitness at this point is because I don't think people understand how much control you have over some of these chronic diseases that's out here. Diabetes, hypertension, things like that, arthritis, all those type things. Just by the way you eat, you can prevent or reverse it. You know what I'm saying? Just changing my diet stopped my heavy bleeding. I don't clot anymore. I don't have issues with my bleeding anymore. My periods are so much shorter than what they used to be, and I'm no longer in pain or nauseous from those symptoms. And I definitely knew I didn't want to get to the point where my mom was, where her uterus fell. And I said, oh, it fell. She was like, yeah. I felt this excruciating pain, and I looked and I could see the bottom of my uterus, and I said, oh, okay. And she had to have it surgically put back into place, and I just knew I didn't want no surgeries. I knew I wanted to have kids one day. I knew I didn't want to have to continuously go through this pain, kind of for no reason. It was sort of like, I'm going through this for no reason whatsoever. If I just change what I put in my mouth, you get what I'm saying, my body will change. What happens to my body will change, and I kind of just stuck with it. And I have to say, this is the best I've ever felt in life. Like, I just feel like I have so much control over myself and I love it, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. You know, people ask me all the time, do you miss meats? Do you miss dairy? Things like that. I'm not gonna lie, like I said before, every now and again, every now and again I do get a craving, and every now and again I might give into that craving. But to say, do I miss the complete diet? No, I don't, because it's associated with pain and torture. Like, I felt like my body was torturing me, but my body was just telling me, yo, what you're doing right now, what you're putting in me, what you're doing to me ain't working for me. I need you to stop, bro. And I would still do what I wanted to do, eat what I want to eat, and then my body would just be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make you bleed worse. I'm gonna make this worse. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And finally, you know, one day I just said, fuck it. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get this right. And now here I am. Excuse me. And now here I am, you know, living a better, healthier life. So, like I said, yo, if you're going through something that's supposed to be a chronic issue, trust me when I say you have a lot of control over that, and your diet can be a big factor in why your condition is the way that it is. Making small changes can make such a major difference. So, with that being said, that's my, you know, my fibroid story. That's what drew me to being plant-based, and the reason that I keep up with it so well and I enjoy it. First things first, I make things taste good, okay? Like I said in a previous video, your girl like to eat a lot. So I don't like foods that, I don't like anything that tastes nasty or that I gotta try to force myself to eat. No, I eat good plant-based diet, and yes, it's vegan. So like I said, I'll give a video one day with some recipes, some my go-tos, like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I kind of give you guys that, but I do want to leave you guys on this note. Keep positive energy around you. Get rid of all negative energy by all costs. And it's never that you can't, you simply don't know how. So go learn how. Bye.